Hello, everyone. We are back with another feisty edition of Mute Me, your favorite debate show here on ESPN Cricinfo. As usual, I'm Alexis Younes here with you. This is our brilliant panel today. Debayan, Saurabh, and Shamya. They're getting ready in the wings to go after each other's throats with some of the most controversial topics from this season's IPL. See, Debayan's already got his mute sign up, and that's where I'm going to refresh the rules for you guys who are just tuning in for the first time. Each of our panelists will have 60 seconds within which to present their argument/topic, and in those 60 seconds, the other panelists, if they're not buying what they're saying after 15 seconds, they can hold up that mute sign. 2 mute signs means we're going to cut you off. I also have a golden mute, which means I can mute you at any point, at any time, because I'm the boss, in case you forgot. But I can only use that once in the show, or I don't have to use it at all. They may just be that convincing. We will see. So let's get straight to it, starting in no particular order. I'm going to go with Saurabh first.
Okay, so my topic is that the IPL is a tougher level of competition than international T20 cricket. That wasn't true earlier, but especially since at least the last mega auction of 2018, I think the IPL has provided for the sort of spread of talent that you don't get in international cricket. Because in international cricket, you might have a West Indies, you might have an England and an Australia against whom you'll face, a challenging time. It would have been India, but we are slightly weird with our T20 selections, I think. And so the thing is, in the IPL, there are no easy teams. Every team has at least one gun bowler. Every team has several great batsmen. And because of the salary cap, the thing is spread so evenly that there are just no easy games. And this year's IPL and every IPL since 2018 at least.
With 5 seconds left, you got double muted. Debayan was the first one to bring up his mute sign. Why weren't you buying what Saurabh was saying?
Yeah, sorry, I can't locate the mute any longer, so I'll have to get back to that. But yeah, to begin with, I think one policy of the IPL is that there are no Pakistan players. So that's one huge element which is missing in Indian cricket, domestic cricket, IPL as such, which is where I think it can make for a huge difference. So that's where I would just say that, let alone international T20 cricket, I would be a little cautious before comparing it with even, other international leagues. Because yes, you don't have many Indian players in those as well. But I don't think it's a fair comparison at all without one major test-playing nation missing completely from the roster.
Shamya, you also...
Similar. Is it more competitive perhaps than the World T20 or whatever? Of course it is. It's like the Champions League versus, say, the World Cup. You have that many stronger all-round teams as compared to an international team, a national team where you might have weak links and so on. But yeah, for the IPL to be a truly Champions League level event for T20 cricket, you need Pakistan. And that's so unfortunate that it's not the case.
Let's move on now to Shamya. You're up next. Hit me with your topic.
Is again to do with the IPL. We'll move to the other one next. Is that the IPL needs to be a 10-team tournament? Ideally, a 16-team tournament. I think it's becoming a bit too predictable in some ways. It's becoming a bit stale looking with the same 8 teams playing against each other year after year after year. I think there needs to be a bit of a system of promotion and relegation. Have 10 teams to start with. Move out the bottom 2 each year and bring in the top, the 2 who are out at the moment. And that's basically a way to start it, get it going, just to add a bit of newness and freshness to every edition. That's really it. I finished.
Oh my goodness, he finished within 30 seconds. He didn't even need the additional 30 seconds. I was contemplating that because everyone in this show knows I'm not a fan of changing the game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But I kind of like that idea of promotion, relegation. It does make things a little feistier, but this season has been a little unpredictable. Who'd have thought that we'd be talking about Chennai never making the playoffs? So Saurabh and Debayan, let's start with Saurabh. Why weren't you buying his arguments?
No, I buy his argument that it should be a 10-team league. I think there's enough talent in India and world cricket that, basically I want Fabian Allen to play. So if there are 10 teams, if there are 10 teams, maybe he'll get a chance. But what I was not buying is him saying that it's stale and it requires freshness. And this year's IPL is just, I find it completely the opposite of stale. So that's what I was not buying.
It's 2020. Anything's but still in 2020. We know that. But Debayan, what were you not a fan of in that argument?
Yeah, for the simple reason for the mental and physical sanity of everybody working on it. You realize that 10 teams will mean 94 matches. So we are already at 60 matches and we are quite tired at the moment. I can see Shamya vigorously nodding. So I'm sure he's going to suggest a different format. So that I'm probably on board with, that something of a different format, maybe new teams, new cities, that is most welcome. But yeah, let's not increase the number of matches, please.
Let's unmute Shamya, because I know you only needed 30 seconds to make your point, but I feel like you want to come back and explain a bit more. So anything to say?
Only that I'm not talking about a 10-team tournament. I'm talking about 2 more teams that come in as the bottom 2 go out. So it's still an 8-team tournament. The competition itself is for 8 teams. 2 teams sit out every year.
So you have a second division of the IPL at some
That
stage.
would be ideal, where you have 16 teams, but that's not.
How are you going to explain to the franchisee owners that you might not play?
I know.
That's part of the deal. They're saving money for that year.
How? And the players, you just don't get them.
This actually came up, like you said, Fabian Allen. This came up because of Mohammad Nabi. I want him to play. I want him to have a team to play.
But if Rajasthan Royals finish bottom, then no Jofra Archer, no Ben Stokes in next year's IPL.
So be it.
No Josh Butler.
But then maybe other teams who are still in the elite league can come and take them. But then that leaves that other team languishing, and how do they get back?
Yeah.
Wait for a year. See, there's no second division. So you just come in the next year, the bottom 2 go out.
Okay, if that was your argument, then I want to go back in time and mute at 5 seconds.
All right, on that note, we'll move on then. Debayan, you're up next. What is your topic?
Yeah, so my topic is that it is pointless to an extent for IPL franchises to appoint overseas players as full-time captains. There's no patriotism or jingoism involved. It's just sheer practicality. I think it's got to be a medium to long-term prospect. It's got to be a 2 to 3 year vision to have a captain who's going to lead the side. And you have to be sure that that player will be available, considering all of the other international cricket commitments also going on. Furthermore, it's more tricky in terms of team balance for a overseas player to have a slotted in, absolutely fitted slot in the team, because there are only 4 places. So that becomes a little bit tricky for most franchises. I think one example of a team which has suffered because of that, I feel, has been Rajasthan Royals this year. Also, I think that player also needs to be in tune with the strengths and weaknesses of the domestic players, both uncapped as well as some of them who played for the national team. So that's where I think some of these captains have lost out in the past. Of course, there'll be exceptions to every rule, but I think this should be the norm, and I think most franchises should look at it this way.
All right, so Debayan got through almost unscathed with about 3 seconds left, but Shamya, he looked like he was contemplating whether he should mute him or not, but you were the only one that found fault with that argument. What didn't you like?
The argument itself. I think if the statement were to be teams should rethink their policy towards captains, I would have been okay with it. But like we've seen this year, Dinesh Karthik was the captain of Kolkata Knight Riders. The team removed him and got in Owen Morgan, which was a terrible move, but they didn't have another captain option in the squad, really. So, so that it's a team call. And if the overseas captain, say David Warner or Stephen Smith or whoever, is not performing, remove him and get someone else. That option is always there for the franchises.
Well done, Debayan. Seems you got almost everyone on the same page, somewhat there, more so than the others. But Saurabh, you're the man that's up next again. What is your next topic?
So my next topic is that the new qualifying process that the IPL has instituted since about 2011, I think, everyone says it's like the fairest system there is and all, but it is really, really unfair to the team placed third. Now, what happens in this new process is the first 2 teams get, as every commentator is fond of reminding us 5 times in a match, 2 bites of the cherry. So they get 2 chances to qualify for the final, which is all good and fair because T20 is a volatile format and all that, and you want the top 2 teams to be rewarded in some way. But what happens to the third place team? They essentially have to play a quarterfinal, semi-final and final, whereas the second place team doesn't have to do that. And very often in the league stage, the second place team is on same points, and they have like an archaic thing like net run rate as a tiebreaker. This happened to RCB in 2015, by the way.
Oh, 6 seconds to go, and Saurabh got muted. Debayan, you weren't buying that first. Why? What was the issue with the argument?
Yeah, I think it's twofold. I think to begin with, it makes for exciting playoffs, and teams, I'm sure, I don't know off the top of my head if there are any examples, but I'm sure teams have actually overcome this obstacle and gone on to win the IPL. It's not that bad actually to have one extra game in one final week.
I didn't see a statement. I really didn't see a statement in Saurabh's statement in the sense that what's the solution? What do you want? I mean, I think it's a very fair way to go about it if you're going to have the top four there. There's no end to I think it's a very fair system, and I didn't see Saurabh actually telling us, let's do this instead.
All right, we'll wrap that one right there. Thanks so much, as always, to Saurabh. Let's move on now to Shamya. What is your next topic?
Was talking about India's selection for Australia, and I'm really happy with the selection of Varun Chakravarti, the spinner, mystery spinner, whatever you want to call him, because I think the Indian team has kind of fallen behind in the T20 race, despite having the IPL, has kind of fallen behind in a way, the way the England white ball teams had till recently, in terms of being kind of like the ODI team, the best ODI players sort of got selected for the T20 side. I think Varun C's selection is a step in the right direction. It's just one selection. I'd like more of those players who are specialists. I'm not saying Virat Kohli shouldn't lead the side, or some other top performers like Rohit Sharma or KL Rahul, who are multi-format players, should not be there. But I really like the idea of people who impress in the IPL and the Syed Mushtaq Ali trophy, the actual domestic T20 tournament, to get more chances. It just shows forward thought, and it sort of, it's the way the team should really look.
Wow, spot on the points, Shamya. Wow, that was breathtaking to watch. All right, well, everybody loved that one. Debayan, you are up next. Tough act to follow there. What's your final topic? Because I feel like this one, I might need to pad myself up because our comments are going to explode, but go for it.
Yeah, so my topic is that Shubman Gill is not cut out for T20 cricket. And I hate saying this because I really like him as a player. I think he's a very good batsman. He's got an exceptional technique, and I think he's going to be a future superstar of not just Indian Test cricket, but world Test cricket. But that's where the issue comes in. I don't think he has a game which is geared enough for the shortest format of the game. He does tend to take his time. He plays far too many dot balls for my liking, and he has to sort of amp up that game, that side of his game. And you see, because of that style of batsmanship, he can only play at the top of the order, which has become a little bit of a liability for his franchise. I would rather have the Indian selectors save him up for longer formats, maybe even ODI cricket, but till he shows a little bit of improvement, and that's the advantage that he has. He's still young, and he can, add a few more layers to his entire game. Till then, I wouldn't really back him too much in T20 cricket. Maybe give him a little bit of a break as well.
All right. 10 seconds to spare, and Shamya seemed like he agreed there with almost everything, but Saurabh, you're the one that held up your mute sign. What didn't you like?
Debayan mentioned it after I held up my mute sign, but he is still young, Yeah. So I think it's a little too early to jump into that sort of judgment. You saw how he played against Kings 11 Punjab in the return fixture. He was hitting them out of the screws, and so he's capable of that. It's just that, maybe there's a mindset shift required or something, but he is definitely capable of that. And yes, I agree with Debayan that he's been taking too many dot balls and all that in the power play especially. But where the other part I disagree with him is saying that they should not consider him for T20 sides. He's not being considered anyway. He's nowhere near the T20 side. Yeah. He's just playing the IPL. So, and he's not likely to come anywhere near also in the recent future. Recent future, is that a thing?
Foreseeable.
No. Immediate future.
The foreseeable future, yeah. So he's not going to be there anyway.
Oh, fair enough. Wow, everybody's on that page. Well, I believe it's time to announce a winner. I'm still deliberating with my producer, but we think that this edition's winner is Shamya. Shamya, you went unscathed and brought everyone on the same page beautifully. Look at that. Even your panelists are applauding you because even they knew that they couldn't mute you for the last round. So brilliant stuff there from Debayan and Saurabh and Shamya. Thanks to everyone for participating. Thanks to everyone as well for watching. I cannot wait to see the comments here. Debayan, you might want to turn off your notifications, but it's okay because that's why we do this. Make sure to join us for another feisty debate on Mute Me here on ESPN Cricinfo.